from The Athletic and Fox Sports college football insider Bruce Feldman zooming in from outside the Zingerman's Deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan, getting ready for the big noon on Saturday game on Fox, the annual Michigan-Ohio State contest. And, I mean, what's going on in that neck of the woods, Bruce? I mean, all of us are already fired up about Bryce Underwood and learning that Illinois graduate Larry Ellison's girlfriend helped the whole process, or his better half. Is that the conversation going on in Michigan right now? I know there's a big game this week, but it's already about next year, right?
There's absolutely a lot of enthusiasm about that maneuver. You know, not just to beat Brian Kelly and LSU, to get a kid who grew up 20 minutes away here and was a Michigan fan, and Michigan, you know, pulled in a lot of big resources. Even from what we had been told, Tom Brady was on a couple of Zooms with him to help become a good resource to Bryce Underwood. So I think after what has been a really rough year, to get that kind of news that, hey, we may have a franchise quarterback coming in next year, and whether he's ready to compete or not, you know, right out from day one, I think that gives people some optimism after what, you know, is probably going to be a 6-6 year, and I imagine there'll be some staff shake up a little bit. But you know, I think if you were to tell Michigan fans, hey, you're going to win a national title in 2023, there's going to be a really rough year after it, and then you're going to get a quarterback who's probably more highly touted than anybody who's been here in the modern recruiting era. I think a lot of Michigan fans, not to speak for you personally, Rich, but would probably make that deal.
Oh, well, there's no doubt about it in my mind that that this gives some serious wind at the back of Sharon Moore going into this game, where we're all in the Michigan alumni base expecting Ohio State to want to put a 60 burger on us if they can. Like they won't stop. It'll be 3 years of pent up frustration that'll be handed out, certainly to get them to a Big Ten championship game against Oregon with a nice amount of momentum. Bruce Feldman here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what's your opinion of the College Football Playoff Committee's latest and greatest, Bruce?
You know, it's interesting. They didn't drop Indiana that far. So there's like kind of a buffer with Indiana and this cluster of SEC teams that are on the outside of it. You know, Alabama being among them, Ole Miss being among them. You know, because even where those teams stand, there would be a Big 12 team that would leapfrog them by the way the playoff criteria is set up. So, you know, I think right now what'll be interesting to see is, where's the big upset coming? Is it going to be USC knocking off Notre Dame? Is it going to be Vandy getting Tennessee? I mean, you feel like somewhere along the way something is going to happen that's going to stir things up. The Big 12 is like wildly all over the place in terms of what the championship game is going to look like. But I just think there'll be some curveball that's coming. I just, you know, we'll find out what it is this weekend.
So do you think it will wind up 4 Big Ten teams in? Because, you know, we all know Ohio State and Oregon. Well, I mean, it's the likelihood of all
those are no-brainers,
right?
Yeah.
So you think that happens?
The only way it doesn't, I think, is if Purdue somehow knocks off Indiana. Purdue has had an awful season, unless there's a huge hangover effect for IU. I just don't see it, because the committee would have to really undo a lot of the stuff that it said this weekend. And you're sitting there. Auburn is a 500 team at best. It's not like they're a top 25 team. Alabama beating them is not going to give them some big vault, especially, as I said, you have Big 12 teams that are going to factor in at least one Big 12 team that's going to factor in that's behind those clustered SEC teams that are sitting there hoping for a lot of chaos. And like I said, a lot of that chaos would have to be Purdue pulling a massive upset of Indiana. It would have to be, you know, it could be Syracuse knocking off Miami. I know that would make Brockman happy. It would certainly have to be USC and Notre Dame. There has to be like a combination of those things that would have to happen, I think, for Alabama or Ole Miss to find their way into the playoff.
What's your opinion of Boise State getting one of those coveted 4 bye week spots, Bruce?
You know, I think part of it is because there's just not a lot of respect from the committee has showed for the Big 12. And I think that when you have two lost Big 12 teams, and again, their schedule is harder than what, from a week in, week out standpoint than what Boise played. But Boise lost only by 3 at Oregon. That's not much worse than that's basically how it looked for Ohio State. So I think Boise, they're going to sit there if they do end up beating UNLV twice or end up coming out of the Mountain West with a 1 loss. And the 1 loss is a close loss against the #1 team in the country, who's the only undefeated team in the country. I think that's a pretty strong argument, as opposed to you have, some kind of 2-loss Big 12 champ that's not going to have any great wins. I mean, right now, probably one of the better wins in the league is BYU's win at SMU earlier in the season. But I don't think it's not like, it's not like they beat Georgia, or it's not like they beat Oregon, or it's not like they beat Ohio State. So I just think that for the Big 12, yes, they'll probably get a push from playing in a more competitive conference title game, depending on whatever that matchup's going to be. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough right now, assuming, Boise State was not impressive last week against a really bad Wyoming team. If they're impressive in the Mountain West title game next Friday night, I think that would be enough. It could be enough to give them that first round bye.
Bruce Feldman here, sitting outside Zingerman's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, making his way to Columbus for Fox's coverage of Michigan at Ohio State on Saturday at noon, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is Colorado's college football playoff dream over, do you think, after that loss in Kansas, over 300 yards they gave up on the ground? What do you think, Bruce?
It's faint. They need a lot of help right now. It's crazier things have happened, but they're going to need a lot of help for them to get themselves into the Big 12 title game and then to win it. And they're sitting down there at 25. That's a long way to go. But if they were to win the conference championship, obviously that would do it. But I don't know. It's not looking very good for them at this point. They had a chance, and they had a really bad performance against a very physical team that has some talent that had been underachieving for much of the year. But KU's got it going in the last couple of weeks, and they're looking like the team we thought they were going to be coming into the year. And when they took it to Colorado, and Colorado just did not respond well.
Well, and in terms of that, I think we're still going to see 2 Colorado guys in Manhattan in a couple of weekends from now, in Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter as Heisman Trophy finalists. My 2 cents there, and then the Thorpe Award. I want to hit on that one right here, Bruce. I mean, Deion Sanders was talking about it. He's a former Thorpe Award winner. This is the award that goes for best defensive back, and Travis Hunter, who's already a Biletnikoff finalist for best wide receiver, doesn't get the Thorpe Award nod as a finalist, and this is what Deion had to say about it.
How is Travis Hunter snubbed by the Jim Thorpe Award? You can have my award, you can have it back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give him mine. I ain't using it. Just sit up there collecting dust. So Travis could have my Thorpe Award, because if this ain't the most idiotic thing in college football, that he's not a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, and he is, I would say arguably, but I don't think it's really an argument about this young man being the best defensive back in college football.
And then he went on his Instagram stories and said that the Thorpe Award folks were tripping, is what he said, Bruce. Mm-hmm. You can't blame him, right, on this front?
No, and even so, what's interesting to me, if you go down this list you guys are showing, the third one, the Bednarik Award for Chuck Bednarik, that's for the Defensive Player of the Year award, and he's one of the 3 finalists for that. So he wasn't a finalist for the defensive back award, but for the entire position, for the entire 11 on that side of the ball, he was one of the 3 finalists. So not to knock the other 3 finalists, I mean, they're all terrific players, but he would be, if he was on my ballot, if he was available to vote for, I would absolutely vote for Travis Hunter to win the Thorpe Award. I'm going to vote for him. I'm not supposed to say this, but we're not supposed to say who our Heisman Trophy we're not supposed to say it until after the award is announced. I think there's a really good chance he's going to have at least one vote I know of. So,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, he's just a phenomenal talent. I mean, just awed by what you see him when you see how he plays. And, look, certainly Deion Sanders is probably better positioned to speak on that award than probably any football coach in the country, because, like you said, he won the award himself and he knows what it takes. Not to say he's knocking the other three guys who were there, but just it's a head scratcher and probably not a great look for the Philip Award itself. And, but he's going to have a lot of hardware he's going to take home, and probably some more significant hardware, I would think, than just the Philip Award.
Yeah. So I guess what we just had Jameis Winston on, and he said he leans towards quarterbacks more voting, and he mentioned Shador. What, didn't you guys get the sense that he said he hasn't made his vote yet, but that I got the sense he's gonna vote for Shador. What's your 2 cents on handicapping this race with a couple of weeks to go here, Bruce?
I think Genty's had an amazing year. He's pressure for Travis. To me, Travis has just had a remarkable run there. It's not a knock on Ashton Genty. I think he deserves to be in the top 3. I would have Shador in my top 3. Cam Ward's had a terrific year at Miami. I don't know who else you make a strong case for. Like, this has not been a great year for quarterbacks. It's been a great year for a running back, and it's been a remarkable year for a unicorn. And that's, I think it's a pretty cut and dry Heisman race, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't other great players who've had terrific years, but most outstanding player, I mean, the guy wears a quarterback number. I'll say that. So,
hey, Bruce, before I let you go, last one for you. Again, I assume you haven't been to Columbus yet, but I'm sure your ear is to the ground. How badly do they want to put it on Michigan on Saturday?
Man, if Ryan Day and his guys wanted to put an extra touchdown on the Google Me guy, you imagine what they want to take after 3 years of frustration and all this. Like, if he could put 70 on them, I think he will.
70.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, that's on Wink to prevent that, and obviously the offense 3 and outing the defense back out there, but 70, huh? Okay. All right. Well, I know what I'm doing Saturday. Bruce, thanks again. Appreciate it. Travel safe to Columbus. Best to your fam, and enjoy Zingerman's. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Rich. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Same to you. That's Bruce Feldman of college football's coverage on The Athletic and Fox Sports right here on The Rich Eisen Show. There he goes. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.